Kimcha guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Dhruti and I'm originally from India. I made it a mission to explore more of the world, but in a slower, more focused manner. So join me, my boyfriend Kevin, and my boo-boo Pilu on this journey to explore the gorgeous state of Oaxaca, where we will be starting off from Oaxaca city before making it all the way down to the coast. So guys, we're in the beautiful Monte Alban and you can see the hills behind us. And we just came back from a great lunch, which reminds me of another point that I really like about Oaxaca is that if you go to any place and you have lunch, unlike what we have experienced in the US, you are not pressured to get out of the restaurant, even if you are done eating. We have always had to ask the server to get us the check, but they never come up to you and it's like here you pay this, and kind of insinuate that you should get out of there, which we really love. Another thing we have said time and again and again, is that there isn't as much sugar in the things that we consume here, but at the same time there isn't as much sodium in the various foods we consume, whether it's cheese, whether it's string cheese. There's huge differences. Whether it's sausages, there's a huge difference, like, because the sausages you get in the US are so salty, but here it's almost like it's very minimal, and it's a huge difference. And I feel like even if you eat fried food here, it doesn't sit in your body like it does in the US. Even if you eat carbs here, you don't feel sleepy immediately after. So there's a huge difference in the foods that you eat here. We have been into street vendors who make burgers.
Yeah.
And they're not greasy, they're like healthy. You eat breads and they're healthy. Your body doesn't feel weird after it, and we love that. Because I can eat the kind of things that I couldn't eat back in the US. I had very weird reactions to it, and now I just don't.
Yeah, well, then in the US too, it also, you feel like you would have to take a nap after you got done eating, but here you don't have to take a nap at all. It's just, you feel refreshed and you're ready to go. You got food, you got fuel in your body, ready to start traveling around, doing stuff. So yeah, it's the food quality is much better.
One more thing is that where we walk around a lot, right? And we saw a lot of graffiti, but beautiful graffiti here on the walls. Some of it, I don't know what the real difference is between street art and graffiti, but there's a lot of expression on the walls of Oaxaca city. And even beyond that, I think this is just a very artistic place. And that leads to the other point, that there's also so many art galleries, so many. It's an artist's hub. So a whole lot of artists, a whole lot of musicians, and a whole lot of street art and graffiti.
So we don't like going to bars often, but when we do, we've noticed that it's a little crazy at times. And we notice that the nightlife usually doesn't end until about 4 a.m., which unfortunately we can't stay up that late because we're getting old. But
I don't know what he's talking about.
not
Speak
mentally,
for yourself.
maybe physically. And we notice a lot of vendors will come into the bars and start selling their merchandise, like whether it's food or like little knickknacks here and there. They'll sell them, and the people working in the bars don't care. They just allow them to come in and just sell it to,
anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's a high-end bar, it's not weird for a street vendor to come in and give like a fist bump to the people inside, and it's a very friendly, supportive atmosphere. I feel like different businesses support each other, so that is very cool. And in terms of the bars being open till 4 a.m., this is not just the weekends that we are talking about. This is like on any given day, bars are open till 4 a.m., which is, even if a bar is dead, it stays open.
It's crazy. You'll go past all these bars which have no people in there, and they're open till 4 a.m. And you're like, why are they even open? But hey, some people stumble in there around 2 a.m. It's just they bar hop. So
yeah, and actually the bar life, if you go at like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., there will be nothing. That actually starts at 11 p.m., which is our bad time.
Yeah.
Not because we are old, we just choose to be like that.
Yeah.
Crazy thing we noticed is that at a supermarket in Oaxaca or in Mexico, it feels like you just leave your cart randomly behind a pole. There's no place to return the cart. That's it. That's all you do. Your shoulders are so broad. You can put them around me. Okay, you look like an egg, Kevin.
One thing, if you're gonna park around here, is to be very aware, because they're not gonna have a P for slashed out for no parking. Here they have an E, so they have the letter E. If you can park somewhere, and then an E with a cross through it, if you can't park there, and don't park there, because that's not where they want you to park. So be aware when you park your car. But
I don't
pretty
know
much,
him.
you can park anywhere. Even double parking in the streets is great. Like you can, if you can't find a parking spot and it's gonna stop for a short time, you could park next to somebody. But I mean, you're blocking them in when they're trying to leave.
Yeah, I always wonder how those people get out.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's like a kind of a waiting game or if it's like you actually have to find the person, have them move their car. But I think the double parking is for short-term parking. So if you're gonna be there for a little bit, pick something up and then leave. If you're gonna be a long time parking, then you park next to the curb.
Smart.
I can be smart sometimes.
Sometimes. Third parking situation. It's a 2-lane parking. I thought those were cars waiting in traffic jam.
So if you're that guy, you can't get out.
You have to negotiate with the other guy.
Yeah.
Let's come to some of the cons. The first one, let me start with the one that bothers us more often than not, is the internet. So, any Airbnb I've picked, I look at the amenities, like look at the things that are very necessary, and I've always messaged the host beforehand to know if the internet works well or not. I've always gotten information that, the internet works very well. In terms of our first Airbnb, the internet was good, but it would cut out.
Well,
so it wasn't a speed issue, but it was the fact
bandwidth issue. There was the amount of people there. All right, so the Airbnb we stayed at, there was like 8 rooms, and then the more people that stayed in each room would suck up the bandwidth because they were trying to use their internet, and before we knew it, it was like impossible to actually look at a web page because it was so slow. It's like using 56K modem. Like it was just took forever to load images. So it was like more people were just using it and, watching Netflix, watching Roku, watching all types of stuff. That's all sucking in the bandwidth. So.
And let's talk about the second one.
Yes. So the second one, I had an issue with the router ranging to our room. So it would cut out constantly at first. And then they gave us a router to plug in our room, and it's much better, but it also cuts out a lot.
And if you go to the room next to it, the internet is terrible. Like the range is so small that it only works in that one room.
I just think the router itself is a bad
router.
Yeah.
Based on our 2 Airbnb experiences, internet seems to be an overall problem here.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to work remote or something, you really have to think about it. Or bring like something like Starlink.
Yeah, or if you could use Starlink, mobile hotspots works pretty well. I know you pay a little bit extra for it, but if you want stable internet, bring a different source. Don't depend on your Airbnb's internet.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to tell you it's good, but just be prepared.
And that brings me to another point as well. That in the US, when if your home internet was down, there was always a Starbucks nearby that you could go to and use the cafe internet. Now, most cafes here do not provide free internet, and if they do provide internet, it's not really fast. It's a rarity to have an internet cafe. So that's another struggling point for us. Our gyms. while I love being one with nature, the gyms don't have air conditioners. Not just not having air conditioners, there are no fans, and you're wearing a mask. It gets very tough. Like it gets very suffocating and claustrophobic. And I don't know how you manage it, but he doesn't seem bothered by it. I'm like dying,
Well, unless I'm running on a treadmill for like half an hour.
which you never do.
I know,
You
so
never do it.
that's why I'm not
You
too bothered
barely
by it.
run. Yeah, he's just naturally fit and weird. Cardio is less of a thing in all the gyms that we visited. Like the previous gym had just bicycles, no treadmills. This new gym has one treadmill and two ellipticals, and everything else is about weight training. So that's another interesting observation.